What you waiting for? It's time. Time for love. It's time. Time for the sun and sand. It's time. Time for fun. It's time. It's time. It's time to let your hair down. Come on. Come on. Come on. To have no fear. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. It's time. What you waiting for? It's time. 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 What you waiting for?
And a very warm welcome to all of you tuning into the Merv Britto Show. My name is Merv Britto, and thank you for tuning into another episode of our show. I don't know how many we've got. Now, we've done about 62, 63 shows. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome wherever in the world you may be, and happy Father's Day to all of you dads out there. Kush, Dale, for all the kids you know and the kids you don't know, I shouldn't be saying that, a happy Father's Day. We have been doing the show for a while, and we talk about issues and topics here in Goa and around the world. It's our own way of giving back and saying thank you to all the men and women out there that do so much to make this place special. Speaking of making things special, I want to say thank you, as I always do, to our team, a very special team that put this all together. The one and only Mr. Ajoy Barretta, our executive director, who's got a brand new format. Ajoy, it looks awesome, dude.
It took me long enough, didn't it? But I think it's appropriate for today's show. We've got a very, very special guest, and I'm excited for it.
And that's the secret that I'm going to... Anyway, we'll come back to that. Ladies and gentlemen, our technical director, the one and only Mr. Wilbert Cardozo. He's actually very busy, and he's been working hard for a very, very long time today, early in the show. Thank you, Willie. The love of my life, the breakfast queen. I was going to say the most beautiful girl in the world, which I met. Joanne Britto, who is also the executive director and co-host.
All right, Big Daddy, been exercising today. What are you doing on the tee box?
On the tee box. Listen, you're giving away all these hints. Ladies and gentlemen, we do the show, and without this team and Neil Rodrigues and a lot of these other guys that make this all happen, we couldn't put this together. We thank you for joining us. I am so excited on this Father's Day because you couldn't put together a better, more special day to speak to our next guest. We promoted him during the week. He's a young gentleman that is a hardworking, a role model, an example of somebody who really wants to make things happen. And we spoke about him a couple of weeks ago on a previous episode. We did a piece about him and how it's hard enough to make it in the world today, and we complain about how all our talent and athletes go elsewhere to do what they do. We're going to get to him in a moment, but first, before we get any further, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to tell you where you can find anything about the Merv Britto Show, our social media handles. This is a live broadcast show. We do this every week, as I mentioned, but more than anything else, it's an interactive show. You can get information about the show, stream the show, watch, leave a comment, stream, subscribe, like on all the social media handles on your screen right now, and anywhere you get your social media on Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube. Check out more information about us and the previous episodes we've done on the Merv Britto Show at www.themervbrittoshow.com. Get in touch with us on WhatsApp, 7507-246-246. Any shout-outs, by the way, Joanne?
Well, it's Father's Day today, isn't it? So I would have thought everybody wanted to do Father's Day shout-out.
We are going to say a special thank you to all the gentlemen that we're indebted to, because without them we wouldn't be around. Father's Day shout-outs, you can send them in. We'll read them out on the air. I told you, 7507-246-246.
7507-246.
There you go. I can't hold my excitement. I'm a squash player, and I love playing squash. We spoke about this young man a couple of weeks ago, and just by chance, a friend of ours called and mentioned about his struggle, his journey, and we wanted to have him on the show. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait to introduce to you the one and only Mr. Yash Fadte.
Hi, Merv. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
You haven't heard the rest of the show, so I'm glad you're enjoying it so far. Mate, I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, because you are an example. There's a lot of young people that watch our show that are wanting to reach goals and heights, and sometimes it takes an example, a role model like you, who's done it, who's doing it. And as a youngster, it's rare that people are willing to commit and do the work they do. You are a glaring example of how something that we do the show every week, Yash. It's the only live broadcast internet show. It's a show that we do, podcast, that we broadcast live every week for this specific reason, to make people aware what's going on here. It's an example for other people listening and youngsters listening, how they can get to where their goals, they can get to wherever they want to go. But it takes a lot of commitment, and that's why I wanted to have you live on the show.
Would you say glowing example?
A glowing example.
Yeah.
Put him on a pedestal. I mean, it's so true, because we'll talk more about it, and we'll get into what his sacrifice is, his father's sacrifice on this Father's Day, and it works beautifully into the rest of the theme of the show. By the way, the opinions expressed on the show are the opinions of the people expressing them, and not potentially the expressed opinions or implied opinions of the Merv Britto Show. We're not promoting anything. We do the show because we're passionate about where we come from, the place we live, and people like you that are making us so proud. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to jump right in to Mr. Yash Fadte. Ajoy, I was going to ask you, this people are going to be messaging. You've got this new format, by the way. Explain a little bit about the format. Are we going to see messages coming in on the bottom of the screen?
We hope to. We'll definitely read them out for sure. But yes, this is a work in progress. It's a new, improved format, one which we try and get to viewers however you please, whether it's on TV or on your mobile. We hope we've made it a little more convenient and accessible to you.
It looks awesome, dude, and I don't know how it's going to work. Yash, today's Father's Day. I couldn't think of an example of somebody who's dedicated and committed their life. He's your mentor. Mr. Dilip Fadte is your dad. Any special message to him? And I know he means the world to you. We wanted to have him on the show. We had planned to have him on the show, and the last minute things had to be changed for whatever reason. I want you, none of us got to do it, but I want you to look into your camera and send a message, because I'm sure he's listening, dude.
Yeah, I mean, on Father's Day, I have no words to thank my dad. I mean, he means the world to me. I mean, whatever I am today is because of him and my mom. And I think the role that my father has played in my life, I think it's gonna it has shaped me into the person I am and the person I will be in the future. And he's my role model. He's my hero. He's the person I look up to. And in the future, if I can be even 10 or 20% of the man he was, I would.
Happy Father's Day, Mr. Dilip Fadte.
Happy Father's Day, absolutely.
That's awesome, dude. That's really, really nice. And the fact that you are, people don't realize how much parents play a role in our lives, and make us the people, they mold us the people that we end up being. We did the show a couple of weeks ago, and it was just a promo because we like to highlight different topics that are happening here and around the world. And you were one of the topics where you've worked so hard and committed your life. You've given up the corporate environment to give yourself one last chance potentially to hitting those milestones, the Olympics, and all these things which we're going to discuss. We don't know all the answers, but we're trying to help. The Merv Britto Show is trying to help in the process. If anybody out there needs some help, or we could promote or help a topic, exactly how this has come full circle with Yash on the show, we'd love to help. Yash, tell us a little bit. You're a local boy. Joanne, you're going to say something?
No, I just wanted to say, can we start from the beginning? Because I'm really interested to hear Yash's story and his journey that's got him to where he is today.
Tell us a little bit about you're going car, Baba. And that's that endears me more than anything. He's so understated. Such a lovely person to speak to. He's been so kind and down to earth, which I love. Tell us a little bit about you, your background, where you grew up.
Yeah, so I'm from Vasco, born and brought up in Vasco. Born into a family with cricketers. My dad played Ranji for Goa. My uncle played Ranji for Goa and was selected to play for India for the board president's 11. And after my dad retired from cricket, he also played a lot of sports. He did sailing for Goa, which is where he met your good friend Derek Menezes, and
another athlete,
who one of the best sailers, not just from Goa but in India. So and then he would play squash at the local club in Vasco, the naval club, where my dad was a civilian member. And I would go along with him, just to watch him play as a kid when I was 7 years old, 8 years old. And I also grew up playing a lot of different sports, and squash was a sport that looked very interesting to me as a kid. And the day I stepped into court, I just refused to come out, even when my mom tried to drag me out of the court. So that's where the journey began. And then my dad started coaching me, because he also didn't have any knowledge about squash, just club level. So he started coaching me, and then I picked up the sport very fast. And within 6 months, a coach from Bombay came, and he said, "Oh, why don't you take your son to compete at a national level tournament and see where he stands?" Because he's
that good.
And I ended up going to Bombay to play the Bombay Gymkhana tournament, and in the under-9 category, I beat the number 1 seed in the tournament.
Wow!
And I finished runner-up in the tournament. I cried so much after losing, and my dad was super happy. My mom was super happy, but I was crying. I said, "Oh, I lost," but I obviously didn't know what I had achieved at that point.
Yeah.
But ever since that moment, there was basically no looking back.
How old were you that time when you first like runner up and started playing squash seriously?
I was 7.5, 8
Wow.
years, yeah.
And you said your dad used to play at the club?
Yeah, just for fun with his friends.
With his friends, yeah? Because squash around Southeast Asia, squash is a big sport. It's massive. Pakistan, India, all around the world, Europe, they've got big champions, right? You went to school in Vasco. Any shout out, any teachers, any school colleagues, anybody you want to give a shout out to? Where did you go to school?
Absolutely. I went to St. Joseph's Institute in Vasco. And I think the way my school teachers, the principal, all my friends, my twin brother, my mom, the way I got support from them just growing up, going through high school was crazy, because let's say there was 9 months of school. I was not in school for 7 out of the 9 months because I had to travel so much. I had to travel for training, for tournaments, and I still ended up finishing with, I think, 85% in my 10th
Wow.
course. So I was in the distinction, which was good. My brother got 92 or 93.
Is he also a sportsman?
Yeah, he plays cricket.
Does he?
And he's my twin brother. So
What's his name?
Om.
Fadte,
Fadte,
yeah.
yeah.
Big shout out. Wow.
So-
And when you say twin, he's an actual twin brother?
Yeah, he's my actual twin brother.
So there's two good-looking cats in the Yash Fadte family, yeah?
Well, when someone says that, I say that he got the brains, I got the looks.
So you did St. Joseph. Shout out to St. Joseph's and all your colleagues and all the boys. And listen, it's nice that somebody has a talent, but your parents and you took your education very seriously. You studied your butt off. You had to travel and all. You still did very well in school. You were a local boy. How did this life progress into squash? So at that time, Dad said, "You know what? This guy's doing really well. Sent you to Bombay." What was the progression to where you are today?
Well, when my dad saw that I was doing so well nationally, I was already winning tournaments in Bombay, I was winning tournaments in Delhi, all over the world, and I was all over India, and I was already number 1, 2 in India.
What
And
age?
then at the age of 9, 10.
Wow.
So then I started playing my first international tournament, and I think I went to Malaysia, finished second. Then I went to Hong Kong for the Hong Kong Junior Open in 2011, where I won my first tournament in Hong Kong under 11. So that was a huge achievement, and that's when my dad realized that he has the potential to also perform and win at the international events as well.
Very young. And it's surprising because until that, you never had any professional training. It was your dad that was your mentor, your coach. Did you have any, at that time, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old when you were traveling internationally and doing so well, this was all dad's coaching?
Yeah, absolutely. All dad's coaching. And but I think the ace up my sleeve was my fitness.
Yeah.
I feel in Goa naturally, like any kid that is born, like can easily like kick a football. It's kind of in our blood.
Genes,
And,
boy, going
exactly,
Indian genes.
correct. So I mean, I was always physically way fitter than any of the boys in India or even in Asia. So that really helped me a lot with squash, because squash is such a physically demanding sport.
Absolutely. Exhausting.
Yeah. I was going to say, Yash, it's amazing because you were junior champion in Hong Kong, Malaysia, Germany, France, and the US. I mean, how on earth did you achieve all of that?
Yeah, I mean, it was. It's been a long journey full of blood, sweat, and tears. But I feel just the support I got from my family, from my school, and just seeing how much people have worked and sacrificed to get me to a position where I am. It's just something that always kept motivating me and still keeps motivating me till today.
You come from a family of absolute natural athletic, like they're all sports people, yeah? And cricket and all these different sports. But I'm saying to you, with that raw talent that you had at a young age, and without a coach, you did really, really well. Usually people start to pay notice and people start to see potential in young people. Something we do the show, and it really gets my goat, and that's why I love to have you on the show, and we talk about this all the time, is the government. We've got different departments that are dedicated to making sure that money for these different causes, these different things that you would normally have the government step up and see, this kid's doing so well. He's on an international level. He's playing internationally. Let's step in and try and support them. You were lucky because your dad came from the barge building industry. You had your little bit of money at home, right? And he at that time was sponsoring and doing all this kind of stuff. Did you not, you didn't have a coach obviously, but did you not have anybody from the Goa government, sports authority, or any of the governmental authorities approach you and say, hey, can we help you attain your goals?
Yeah, well, to give you a background of my family, my dad was in the barge in the mining business, and I was very fortunate to be to have parents who were who could provide more than enough for me and my brother. And like I say, if it wasn't for my parents' support and not just the financial support, but the overall support they gave me, especially to send me to Bombay every weekend from the age of 13 for 7 years to play squash on Saturday and Sunday, and then come back on Sunday night to be back in school on Monday. I mean, at the end of the day, of course, it costs a lot of.
It's expensive, dude.
It is, and I mean, my dad never looked at the financial side twice, because all he wanted was me to ace, me to do well. So yes, it was obviously tough, but my dad, my parents always supported financially, and unfortunately, I mean, if you look at Goa, we have such a beautiful place. I mean, we have all the it's one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Absolutely.
And the connectivity is so. I came now from Vasco to Para here, and it took me almost 45 minutes or less. And if you want to go from Dadar to Mahim, it's going to take you more than 1 hour. So in a place like this where we have so much talent, we have so much natural talent, exactly. Right? And it's sad that sometimes the support that needs to come from the government departments, agencies doesn't come through, because till today I haven't really received any government support. When we did the show and we promoted you about the show, I got a call because through Derek, by the way, shout out to Derek Menezes. Your dad contacted us and said, listen, it's not about the money and stuff. I've done what I've done out of love because I can see his talent. But
were more surprised because there's money, Joanne. We talked about this. There's budgets.
Yeah.
There's 250 odd crore that's put away for sports.
Correct.
And your dad could see the vision, had the pockets where he's got the money to, but it's still a strain. And to get you from an early stage to an intermediate to a professional, whatever the case may be, it's expensive.
Yeah, I mean, Merv, what I wanted to just also additionally pass comment on, because I know that Yash and his dad were playing at the naval base in Vasco, because I know that that's only one of like a handful maybe of squash courts that are here in Goa. And I was just going to pass comment around the fact that when you first came back to Goa to kind of live and work here, your dream was to actually have a sports complex, and one of those things was actually to have like
a leisure center,
several squash courts and stuff like that. And now obviously we've had this mushrooming of all these pickleball courts and all over the last few months.
Pickle and paddleball.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, in 2011, that's what you wanted to do. You remember that was your dream to actually do that, because it's one of your passions.
It's all over the world, Joanne. You've got these leisure centers. Yes, you've seen them around the world. That was my dream back in the day when around the
2011 or so, you were trying to kind of get that up and running.
The thing about it is, because of the monsoon, specifically Yash, and you don't have the facilities. A shout out to the Taj. They used to let us play there. Club Gaspardias. There's a couple of places, right, in Goa?
Even now, Panjim Gymkhana has an amazing.
Yeah, but you can't. You've got to join the Gymkhana.
Exactly.
Obviously, you've got to have the cash.
You need its exclusivity.
There you go.
Yeah.
So when I came back, and Joanne knows this about me back in the day, we used to go to leisure centers in London when we lived in Chiswick. I used to go to the Brentford Fountain Leisure Center in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Thailand. They've got leisure centers where you can go and you pay a fee, you book it, and you go and play badminton, squash, you play whatever sports you want. It doesn't make a difference what the weather is out like, whether it's raining or it's boiling hot. And that's something I wanted to start here. You were lucky because you got to play at the naval base, right?
Right. And also, again, that was also because my dad was a civilian member, and it's very hard for even people who are very well connected with the naval people to get a civilian membership. So I was lucky that my dad had the access to that membership. But yeah, like you said, at the end of the day, also squash is an expensive sport. It's even if you want to set up a squash court, it's not like a paddle court or pickleball court where you just roll a mat and set up a net and start playing. So which is why all these years there were so many other kids and parents who tried to push their kids. Oh, if Yash can do it, so can our kid. But when they realize, you have to spend so much money, you have to spend
time,
so much time, and it's close to impossible. So
you were lucky. And a shout out here again. This is a perfect time to give another shout out to Dilip Fadte, who's the man who's made this happen. Absolutely. This is dedication and commitment that he gave as a child. His son has a talent that not a lot. Listen, let's call a spade a spade. You were special in the fact that you excelled at a very young age, and people saw it. Kudos to him for noticing that, and coaches and blah blah blah. You progressed over time. You said you had to keep flying to going back and forth to Bombay to continue with your education, but also to be able to play and be ranked and training and everything in Bombay. How did you moved to the States?
Yes.
So talk about how that the Goa Bombay thing turned into your next level education. You went to Syracuse, dude.
Yeah.
Syracuse University.
Yeah. Rochester.
Rochester University. That's huge on a scholarship, yeah?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, I mean, the journey kind of started, for the college squash journey kind of started in the juniors when I started playing all the big international events in London, in different parts of the world, when I would play the World Junior Championship or play the French Junior Open or play the US Junior Open. And something I didn't realize until I won one of these championships is that most of these top universities send their representatives to the championships to scout for
talent.
Exactly. So at the US Junior Open, I had multiple assistant coaches from different universities come up and say that, hey, I'm so and so. It would be super nice to stay in touch and see what we can do. Maybe potentially offer you a good scholarship. And something people don't in India don't know is that college squash is huge. College sport is huge in the US.
States.
Yeah, I mean, even college football is is like a religion. It's bigger than the NFL. So
NCAA, baby.
absolutely.
What year was that though? What year was when you won the junior championship in the US?
So I got the Skillman Award in 2025, which is the equivalent of the Heisman Trophy of college squash.
Wow.
So
Say that again. What's it called?
Skillman Award.
And that's in squash. That's excelling
Yeah,
in squash.
Exactly. So even if you go on ChatGPT, just put in what's the equivalent of equivalent of Heisman Trophy for college squash will be the Skillman Award.
Dude, the Heisman Trophy is a big deal in American college football. The Heisman Trophy is given to the best, the most excelling athlete that came out that batch. So if you got that, kudos to you. How old were you when you got this award?
I was 22. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but also, isn't that you are also getting that not just because of your performance, but how you're interacting with the officials, how you conduct yourself? Isn't it all around that kind of those other kind of personal skills and
Traits and
personal
talents.
traits that you've actually got as well? Isn't
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Heisman Trophy is the winner is decided by all the coaches of the conference.
Nice.
So every single coach votes for the award winner. So it's obviously the squash level, the skill level, but also your off-court behavior, how you are as a team
role model
captain.
example.
Exactly, because even though squash is an individual sport, college squash is the only platform where you played as a team. So it's Rochester gave me the opportunity to play, number one for the team for 4 years, be a co-captain for the team, and we won multiple championships under for the 4 years that I was there. So and I
Speaks volumes.
Yeah, and I made friendships and memories that are gonna I'm gonna relish forever.
You were lucky enough to be able to go to New York and study and do your thing, and you got the scholarship because obviously you had the talent. And this is especially for all the young people out there. It's nice to have opportunities, but it's at the end of the day, it takes a lot of work, and you got to get off your butt, and you got to wake up early. Anybody, Yash, that excels or wants to excel has to put in the work. It doesn't get handed to you. No amount of money is going to do this for you. You've worked your ass off and done what you've done with perseverance. You were lucky enough to have parents that support you. You've got parents in the States, and you've seen it. You've grown up. You spent some time there that send their kids to pee-wee leagues and pee-wee soccer, and from a young age, kids are harvested, right? You don't have those opportunities, sadly, here in Goa. We've got a population of 1.5 billion people. If squash was more available or accessible, you would have a lot more following, a lot more courts, a lot more people that want to get into it. Everybody wants to be a cricket player, a soccer player here. For all the young people listening, it takes a lot of work, and he's done that in spades. So you got the scholarship to Rochester, right?
Right, correct.
How's that so you had the agents, the college basically touts that wanted to come and have you join the college teams. You finally signed with Rochester, right? You played for the teams and all. Have you ever had a proper agent that is able to market you, your skills, your talent to make you turn you into that next level professional?
Well, I've been reached out by several agents and agencies, but unfortunately, squash isn't monetized that much. I mean, it's not like a tennis or badminton where there's a lot of money as earnings or sponsorship deals.
A lot of people watching it, basically.
Exactly. So even let's say a tennis athlete gets a Nike deal for 500,000 or $1 million a year, a squash player will get a fraction of that, maybe 20 or 30,000 max. But
that can change, no, Yash. And the reason I'm saying that, the reason I'm asking you this is because you've got the talent and you've got a following. Here we're huge fans, just on the Merv Britto Show, but in Goa, in India, you have a chance to represent Goa and India on an international stage. And the reason I'm asking is the funds are there. we talk about this, and we're always bagging on, we're not always bagging, but we always talk about the things that are going wrong. This is our opportunity not only to showcase you to other children, up-and-coming potential sports people, but also to talk about the things that would make it so much easier to have big names out of Go. You've got the talented people here. To have these big names go on an international platform rather than us having to highlight a Paraguayan guy, a soccer player of Goa origin. Uruguayan player, right? You've got a Yash Fadte with an agent. Is nobody able to negotiate deals with big companies as a brand ambassador, for example, a Head or Nike or Adidas or Wilson, to represent and around the world in all these tournaments, the Olympics, huge platform that you could showcase their products?
No, absolutely. I mean, that's something that would be a dream come true for me. I mean, right now I do have, small deals with Head, with some other brands, but at the end of the day, it's not a lot because
it's not cheap.
Player, no, absolutely not. At the end of the day, as a squash player, you're traveling so much. Your training fees are a lot, and you're barely even breaking even if you're very highly ranked, or and that's why at the end of the day, when a lot of professional players do this just because of the passion and just because of the love for the sport.
And rich parents, dude.
Yes,
that doesn't hurt.
Yes.
Because when you think about it, yeah, your dad mentioned this, and he's never taken a rupee because he'd lose his mind if he tried to get the government to open up that wallet with all the dust and cobwebs and just be able to... Mothballs. But that's why. That's another reason that we talked about this, because you were doing so well on your own. And yes, it's not an elitist, it's not an elite, but it's hard. You've got to have all this stuff fall in place. And you were lucky to have the parents that had the money. I wanted to touch about the fact that you've been doing this now and you've got your sights set on what is your next biggest goal? Olympics or before that?
No, so the Olympics is obviously the biggest goal. I mean, it's 2 years away from now, and I feel there's a certain ranking that I need to be inside. So that is the goal for now. So, but until then, in the middle, there's obviously many short-term goals. Like you have the nationals, you have the World Team Championships, then you have a lot of other small goals. But the big goal where I want to peak at is to qualify for the Olympics and hopefully
2028,
and then hopefully get a medal for the country. I mean, that's the goal.
Boom, baby. Yash Fadte.
Phenomenal. Because it's making its debut, isn't it? So squash is making its debut in the Olympics for the first time in 2028.
I don't get it. It's in the Los Angeles Olympics in 28. Why is it making a debut? And they test out these different sports to see if they're popular and they're going to make it long term, right?
Basically.
They rotate them, it seems like. But something like squash, which is absolutely huge, and it has been a big game for a long time.
I'm seeing the pictures on the screen, by the way, right now, Joanne. Yeah. That's Yash with mom and dad?
Yep, that is at the graduation. Actually, something about the graduation. So in Goa or in India, we don't have huge graduation ceremonies. It's very small, like maybe, I don't know, like they'll call like the head of a department, just just give a speech or have a. But in the US, it's a big deal.
Major.
And I didn't realize it until the day or the week before the graduation, when all my friends, they have like not just their parents but their full extended family coming there.
Really?
And I told my parents, "Oh, you have to come here. Like it's gonna be great." And my parents came for my graduation, and our graduation was in our football stadium.
Yeah.
Dude.
And my parents, we wake up super early. At 8 a.m., they're sitting in the heat. They're like, "Oh, why did we do this?" Everything, and then all of a sudden, the keynote speaker starts speaking, and it was I can't remember. It was an alumnus but like he was the CEO of a big news firm in the U.S. And at a commencement ceremony, they usually don't take names of students unless you've done something exceptional.
Yeah.
And they took my name for winning the Skillman award, and I didn't know that they were going to take my name. So I start screaming with my friends, and then my parents also start screaming from the stadium. So I think it was a huge deal because even if you like excel in academics or do anything in your college, they never take your name at the commencement unless you're. So that was definitely one of my proudest college moments. So
Rochester, New York
Was it a female? Was it Janine? Was it Janine Collins? No? Somebody else.
You're making up names, Joe.
We'll have to try and
Janine Garofalo. No, the point is that you've done so well and you've made the Rochester. What was it? University of Rochester?
Yep, correct.
The NCAA is big enough in itself, but anytime you graduate from a big name college, it's a huge deal because people are so proud of the work you've done. This is secondary education. This is going to set you for life. And all parents and extended family want to be around when you get this accolade and you get your diploma. It is a huge deal in the States. And I've been to two with my nieces, for both of my nieces.
Yeah.
Boston University. No. Boston College, BC. It sucks to be you. Sorry, PJ. My mistake. And my Rita Skeeter.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we've just found out it was Tommy Evans that did the
commencement. And mention, yes, yeah.
So he's award-winning journalist and NPR manager.
I'm trying to think of where are you graduated from?
I'll come back.
Oh my God, Rita, I'm sorry.
The point is, it's amazing because, like you say, you are there. You're in the queue from 7 o'clock in the morning, and you're taking your seats, and you're there, and all family and friends, everybody's sitting there waiting for the ceremonies to start. And I love the fact because you guys have worked your butts off to.
It's hard work, no?
To achieve this. So even if you're basically full-time studying, plus additionally you've got you're great at sports and you're representing your college and university at sports, then it's like double trouble. You've like really doubly achieved. It's phenomenal.
And people are like you said, it's not a very common thing in India. Bucknell University. Rita, I was only kidding. I knew it was Bucknell. I was only teasing, dude. We went for their graduations and we were blown away. I've grown up in the States. I've seen this and it's a big deal. What I was going to say to you is, people don't realize how hard it is not just to excel at a sport. You get a scholarship, but it's not a scholarship where you can just because of your name or your good looks will you get a free ride. NCAA rules stipulate that you've got to have and maintain a certain GPA. Mm-hmm. If you want to continue in any sport, whether it's soccer or football, basketball, or even squash, what do you have to maintain? You got to study your butt off, right?
Right. No, absolutely. I mean,
GPA?
Yeah. So to put it in simple words, the term that is given to us student athletes, the first thing we're told is that you're a student first and an athlete second. So,
of course.
So you have to, like, of course, you're as a student athlete, you're training. You have lesser hours compared to normal students to work in the library, etc. But you have to deliver in the classroom at the end of the day. So every university has their different GPA requirements. For us, I think it was a 3.0.
That's not easy to do, dude.
It's not.
And your full-time scheduled training, because you want to compete on a top level. You've got to work your butt off and train every day. How many times a day? Like even now, Yash, to maintain you've got to keep going back and forth to Europe to maintain your ranking. But how many times a day? How many hours do you put in on a daily basis? Not that when you were in college was a different story, but now how much do you have to work to maintain?
So I have to train 2 times a day. It has to be 2 sessions, doesn't matter what time, and each session has to be 2 to 3 hours, and try to do as much maximum work in those 2 to 3 hours, 5 to 6 times a week.
But that blows me away, and I can see these images. This is Yash is a really, really young kid. We've done my background today in honor of Yash as a squash coach. I love squash. I've played squash many, many years, and it is one of the most exhausting. You can go to the gym and work out for 5 hours. Yeah. You can play 40 minutes of squash and be spent. Joanne, my wife, knows that.
Yeah. I was going to say, because basically Merv gave me a couple of squash lessons at Brentford Leisure Centre. It was hilarious, but equally it was really infuriating because it was like back to the tee. And, it was one of those things that I'm not a very disciplined person when it comes to sport, but...
No, not you, Joe.
Merv knows his stuff, but the thing was he joined the squash ladder. So basically, Brentford Fountain Leisure Centre, it's come on leaps and bounds. As a place, he was playing basketball there. He was in the squash ladder and everything. And literally, it was probably at the max 7-minute walk from our house. but Merv would jump in the car and he would drive.
Turn the mic off.
Center. Then he would play 3 hours on the squash ladder, and then he'd jump back in the car and come home again and like just trough everything that was in the fridge.
Sweetie, you're throwing me under the bus.
No,
I've got a world champion squash player, and you're talking about my Brentford Fountain Ladder. Joy, turn our microphone off.
But
I did.
You were good.
I was decent,
you had a good social circle of friends through that squash ladder and everything, and it was brilliant. But everyone used to laugh about the fact that Merv would never walk to the leisure centre; he'd always drive.
I did. I love my squash. Yes, and that's another reason that I'm so passionate about this topic. But you work twice a day, 5-6 days a week training, and there too, again, college was a different thing, and you get a free ride, but you've still got to maintain a certain GPA. Now as a pro, it takes a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of energy. To become that level, people have to understand training it's not like just going and hanging out at the gym. It's not like going and hanging out at the squash court. You're actually working on specifics to be world level.
I mean, that's my full-time job. I mean, I have to give my 100% because if I don't, then I'm not going to make a living out of it. So
so do you have a coach that trains you while you're here in Goa?
No, I'm guided by my coach in Spain while I'm in Goa. So I have a routine. I have workouts already made when I'm traveling for tournaments. But I try not to have too many coaches and too many opinions coming at the same time. Just stick with one person who I'm comfortable with.
And he's been with you. This is Montserrat, yeah?
Yes, Victor.
What's his full name?
Victor Montserrat.
Give him a shout out. Victor Montserrat, kudos to you, man. I swear to God, it is not easy. It's hard enough to try and do what he's doing on his own, but to be able to do this remotely now with the age of internet and stuff. Yes, you're where are you based right now? You're not based in Goa. Are you still based in Goa or are you in Europe?
No, I'm based in Europe. I'm based in Barcelona.
So you're back to Goa, between Goa and Barcelona, how many times a month?
I would say once every 3 months, maybe.
And the rest of the time you're there full-time training for, you mentioned the World Championships?
Yeah, so basically I have to, there's something called the PSA circuit, which is the professional squash ranking.
Mm-hmm.
So we have hundreds of tournaments on there all around the world, all continents of the world. And I have to travel in Europe, in North America and South America and Australia, a lot in Asia, to play these different tournaments because the more I win and more points I get from these tournaments, those points will help me jump rankings as much as possible. So I'm always traveling, constantly traveling, and I try to come back to Goa whenever whenever I need to see my family. But
need a bit of a break.
Yeah, a bit of a break, much needed. But otherwise, being in Goa, there's no squash players, not a lot of squash facilities. So I try not to spend a lot of time here and go back to Spain or go back to anywhere else where I'm training full time as a professional. Back
to work. I'm going to ask you. You mentioned maintaining a ranking. What are you ranked in the world right now?
So I'm in the hundreds right now, but because I'm transitioning from the squash, the college squash to the professional squash, so it's still taking me a little time to jump in the rankings, but it won't be too far away from when I'm in the top 50s or top 60s, which is the Olympic
elite, baby. Yeah. Elite. People don't realize, people have to understand that in the NCAA, by the way, you are not allowed to have or be a professional. You cannot generate any revenue, and that keeps a lot of kids back, whether it's golf or any sport. As a college athlete, you're not allowed to generate a revenue as a professional, correct?
No, you're not allowed to keep any sponsors. You're not allowed to generate any money from. Yeah. Which personally, as a college athlete who's also a professional squash player, I think it's not the fairest.
Anybody's gonna say it.
But it's hard though. I don't think it doesn't seem that fair, because the thing is, you have to maintain going to all of these championships, and you have to be able to make sure you're able to pay the coaches to train you and everything. So it does seem unfair.
It does cost money. But Joanne, there's a reason for this, and it's always been the case where professional sports and athletics, college collegiate sports is completely separate to minimize the desperation. They've had a lot of bad things happen in college athletes where they've changed games outcomes and blah, blah, blah. So there's specific rules for that reason.
I understand.
There's specific rules, and that's why Yash is where he is in this situation. And he's been blessed to have parents with deep pockets to be able to support him. The reason we want to get to the conversation, I want to get to the meat of this conversation about the government and Goa funding this, because we always complain about how athletes from Goa have to go elsewhere to succeed, to excel.
I wanted to ask before you even get into that, because I know that in Barcelona you're actually being trained alongside other athletes, other squash players from multiple countries from around the world. So are these people being subsidized by their governments and by people, from their countries locally?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm training with the Spanish number one, the Brazilian number ones, the Argentinian number ones, and and all these players have their coaching expenses covered, their rent covered by their national federations or by their state governments from all these countries.
Goodness.
And it kind of surprises me that even countries like Argentina or Brazil, which are economically really struggling, they're still able to give money to these athletes to reduce a big financial load every month.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's I don't know. I think it does happen in India also, but it's still slow, especially in a place like Goa.
Ding, 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 and the alarm bells go off. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why I'm doing this show right now. That's why we do this show, because we're so passionate about what we do. We talk about this very frequently. All of these countries you've mentioned, where they've got their world number ones, fully funded, paid for, sponsored, whatever the case may be. Your dad mentioned to me that a lot of states in India have athletes that excel, and from Punjab, from Uttarakhand, from all these different, from a lot of these different states, because the local authorities, they support the athletes and try and help financially, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
I don't want to get you in trouble, and I'm not saying this to get you in trouble, and I'm saying this is my opinion, but it blows my mind that if we do have a budget, a sports budget, money that's funded specifically in the coffers and been put away, why can't my Yash Fadte, our Yash Fadte, Anta Goinkar Yash Fadte, not avail of these benefits, Yash? What are you doing wrong, or why is it not trickling down to you?
Well, the simple answer is that for all these years I have filled out all the necessary documents, like everything, but it's if you want to get these things done, I feel you have to kind of just leave your sport and spend time behind them,
kissing butt. Day.
Yeah,
is it just
exactly? And it's tough, because that is something that is time that I just cannot afford to spend here. And you look in Goa. I mean, I've being born and brought up here, I've seen the transition Goa has gone through in the last few years, especially with things like healthcare, with GMC, with road infrastructure. Everything's great, and we have the potential to make world champions in Goa, and that will only come when people have support. I mean, I was fortunate to have my parents' support,
of course,
but maybe a talented football player might not have that from their parents. So
we complain about it on the show specifically all the time about how our talented players or people from Goan origin or Indian origin excel other parts of the world. I mean, Ajoy is a great squash player. Ajoy, you play? No, sorry. Ajoy makes squash. You make squash. Sorry, orange squash. No, sorry, Willie was telling me about squash. What were you saying?
Yeah, Merv. Just a quick note. If you remember, we had talked about sports budgets in Goa, and as per what we read, I think we have at least 250 crores that are meant to be spent on athletes. Yeah. So I, as a Goan, I can truly say that I would be so proud to see us as Goans and then Indians, of course,
An Olympiad.
in the Olympics. And it is really questionable, or I can't understand why we cannot get behind people like Yash who have so much talent, who want to excel, who can do it. Why not?
Yeah.
His father said, you know what, and when I spoke to Dilip, he mentioned to me about the fact that he doesn't even bother trying to get, like Yash says, it's too much bureaucracy, red tape, ass kissing to try and get any money out of these. But other states in India are happy to fund their athletes, whatever the sports may be, kabaddi, it doesn't make a difference. But they want to have the representation and be proud of these athletes that come, the local people, right? And Ajoy, what you're saying, we spoke about this, 251 crore that was budgeted, I don't know what year. Where's that money being spent, and why should he have to beg? Or he's not begging, why should he have to ask? You'd want to spend that money on your local athletes to make this place known. Goa on the world stage, we've got a famous world-class, an Olympic competed medaled athlete from Goa.
You know, Merv, I could be wrong here, but you know how we got our first gold medal from a professional shooter called Abhinav Bindra.
In India, though, but he's Indian, right?
He's Indian.
Olympic.
And you know what? You know how he had to get that gold medal? He had to build a shooting range in his house. He had the money to do it. That's one thing. But there's so much of talent that gets wasted when we don't have facilities and we don't have scouts that recognize talent like Yash and push them forward. And I would love to get behind Yash and see him represent us in the Olympics. It would be amazing.
Mate, anybody out there who's listening would love to have some representation from India. And this kind of caliber of player, I mean, he's got the talent. He's been blessed with the natural talent, and parents that have the ability to be able to get him to this level, right? But can I ask you a question? And this is the $1 million question, the question we do the show about. Where does the money for the funding money, the money that's in the coffers that is paid by our taxes, that is budgeted to support our athletes, where does the money get spent? Where's the 250 odd crores get spent? And why is it so hard for these athletes to excel here locally? Would you not think that the authorities would be after Yash? Hey, how can we help you? Dilip, how can we help your son? Why should you have to build your own shooting range or have to beg to have money released? He's filled out all the documentation. He clearly qualifies because he's talented. He's on a world stage level, right? But he's mentioned Argentina and all these other countries have their coaches and blah, 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 blah. And that gives him a step up. And he's done this on his own.
Exactly. He's got far. And now we have to get behind him.
Yash, how old are you, by the way, right now?
I'm 24.
You're 24. You don't have the longevity. You don't have a lot more time to be able to get to that level. These, what would you say the pinnacle of a squash player, the age of the top level? How old can you be to be at the top?
Well, you can. I personally feel that the pinnacle is like your early 30s. I mean,
so that you've got time.
Yeah, but also squash is getting younger by the day. I mean, it's becoming more physically demanding, which means that the age to peak is getting
younger and younger.
Exactly. So,
but you're 24 right now, and you've got a couple years. And you listen, to hell with it. If you can kick butt right now at 24, at 22, at 25, whatever the case may be, look at Formula One. That little kid is killing it. Yeah. So my fear is that your talent, as you get older, becomes harder to be that pinnacle level, right? Why are we not, and here again with an agent, with whatever the case may be, but I come back to the question is, why are we not supporting this guy as Goans and complain about it later? How do you fix, how do you change, how do you break this broken system and fix it in a way that not just locally in Goa, but in India overall, the authorities would love to have, this guy should be at the airport and people should be crowding around him, garlands of flowers. Hey, Yash Fadte is coming home. Yeah. I want your autograph. I want you to be, you would spend the money on some Punjabi singer to come here from Canada and MC your wedding. But you've got somebody like this who's a local boy, who's obviously got the talent. He's competing on an international level in Europe. But why not support him so we can turn around and say, you remember Yash Fadte that killed it, who did well, who made us proud? Amche Goinkar
Exactly. Yeah.
are Indian. Hum log ka, he's gone and represented the countries, right? And there's poor countries in Africa where they come in, they do really well. That poor referee that was banned in the States.
Yeah.
When he came home, they give him cows and I'm kidding. I don't know what they give him.
But
They
they,
give him
gave
bunch
him a huge reception.
Yeah.
They hold their heroes in high esteem because they represent the country, right?
Yash is a hero, dude.
Exactly.
Yash is the reason we're doing the show, and then we're doing the show specifically for him, obviously, other than having young people understand how much work and hard work it takes to get to that level, is because he needs the support. In the States, you've got something called crowdfunding. You've got like a GoFundMe page, and to hell with the government. You can have actually, for people that want to support a cause or a medical emergency or whatever the case, you can create that. You do have these facilities here in Impact Guru and all these things. It's not the same. My thing is that you should have corporations, if any. MJ, by the way, I'm going to mention this, back in the NCAA days when he was in Carolina. Michael Jordan was a very obviously very talented player, and he was a big Adidas fan, and Adidas didn't take him seriously, and Nike swooped in and gave him all the money, not only the money, but gave him the attention, and he switched, and the rest is history. Yes, you're like a Michael Jordan here locally. You don't play basketball, and you're that level, and you've got the opportunity to get to that level. I don't understand, forget about the budgets and the money, why don't you have people beating down your door to help you, companies where you can be a brand ambassador? You already mentioned you got Head. Head is a big name in squash and a lot of racket sports. Right. But beside our local governments, why don't you have more people that want to have you as a brand ambassador? Amul Doodh Pio. You have Yash promoting products because you've got a 1.5 billion population. Yeah. And that's a big deal to have this kid who's already killing it on a world stage be your brand ambassador. They should be beating down his door, Joanne.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel. I mean, sorry, but I think in India a lot, being a squash player, it kind of, you can kind of see how much focus they give only to cricket, or how much. I mean, it obviously even the cricketers are coming from a cricketing background. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but at the end of the day, there's so many athletes. I mean, I know. There was, I think my dad was talking to one time like a boxer, a female boxer, and my dad was talking to her parents, and the mother would, there's so many times where she was crying because her daughter was coming up with scars on her face, like swollen eyes, and at the end of the day, if they, she never got the recognition or never got the. So it does hurt, and it does make a.
It makes it harder, right? Absolutely. It makes it really different. The point I'm trying to make to you is we cricket brilliant, soccer brilliant. Why don't we have representation in the Olympics? Well, why don't we have, right now during the World Cup, Joanne, why don't we have representation? Cricket's not the only sport. Yeah. We're football crazy here in Goa and in India, right? Why don't we have better representation? And here's a good reason and a good example of why this is a topic that needs to be talked about.
Well, basically, India didn't qualify. At the end of the day, for the World Cup, it's been expanded for the first time to 48 countries. But the thing is, we've spoken about the ISL and the fact that...
which has failed, sadly,
which
right?
is basically not living up to its potential, even though it's had massive amounts of funding. So obviously, cricket is a primary sport here in India, and we all understand it. We all recognise that. However, additionally, on top of the fact that cricket gets the majority of the focus, also education within India is kind of primarily focused on over and above any other sporting achievements for any other sports, and that seems like a real shame, because I was interested to find a little bit more out from Yash regarding the fact that he got a full scholarship. Imagine that. He did 4 years at Rochester University. Full scholarship. That is a lot of money.
That's not easy.
An amazing achievement. And the fact is, it's just a real shame that it's a country from overseas that have to recognise your local talent in order to be able to help you fulfill your dreams. That shouldn't be the case.
It is, and that's why we're doing the show. it drives me nuts, and we talk about this very frequently. I sound like a Debbie Downer, but I'm just saying to you, with such a large population, we've got the money, we've got the talent, yes, we talk about this all the time, about how we've got the talent here in India, and you don't see people excelling in these sports. And you always ask the questions. You've got people littering here. Why aren't kids taught at a younger age, farmed, if you want to use the term, at a younger age, to put litter in its place? Garbage receptacles in specific places that are clean, the infrastructure. You've got the knowledge, you've got the capacity, you've got the capability, but things just don't change. So you can have all the focus you want on cricket, it's a popular sport, but why can't we as a country overall have government officials that see these needs, that see the problems and make the changes, and even if it takes time, start somewhere to make these changes on a longer term basis, a sustained basis. A Yash Fadte that's doing so well, we want to give you all the support so you can excel. You can absolutely blow the rest of the competition away, because it puts India on the squash map. It puts India, Goa, whatever the case may be, right? And these people a lot of times will take their talent and go elsewhere and excel in another country because that's dying. They're begging to have that support, that talent locally, and they'll do anything for it. And we can't see that happening here. Yes, sir.
I would ask Yash, who are the great squash players of India? Are there any other players up and coming that you know of, or in the past that you looked up to? And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Pakistan do very well in squash as well?
To answer the second part of your question first. Yes. So Pakistan used to be the temple of squash. I mean, it was ruled by greats like Jahangir Khan and Janshir Khan in the 80s and 90s. Okay. And then they kind of phased out because they got into a lot of age cheating and everything. Like there was so many instances where there was an under 19 kid who claimed to be like 16, 17, but his real age
was 46.
Exactly. he had kids competing in the junior category. So and now Egypt is the powerhouse of squash.
I've seen that.
And out of the top 20 in the world, 15 players are Egyptians. So
imagine that.
A little country like Egypt did.
It's the way I also still don't understand why that is so. But a couple of years ago, I went to Egypt to visit my friend and for a squash trip, and I landed in Cairo airport, and the aero bridges, the ones where
they go to the airplane and bring the passengers though.
And the aero bridges had huge banners of squash players who like the number one women's squash player, number one men's squash player,
because they're proud of this local talent.
Absolutely. And they're sponsored by like their local banks, their big companies, and that's how they're and it's sad that it doesn't really happen that much in India and in other parts. But if a country like Egypt can do it, why can't we?
Exactly.
Because Egypt has a focus on making sure that their talent gets all the help they need to succeed. You know what we got in Goa airport, by the way, Daboli and Mopa. You know what's in the airport all over the walls? Is casino ads.
Yes.
Casino, come to... Who the... Is that what Goa's famous for, by the way? Is that why you come to Goa? Casino people must pay big money to have these ads. But what Yash is saying is, in places where people genuinely give a shit, where they actually care about making sure that they're known around the world. Anybody coming into my country, these are the names, men and women that have excelled in squash. You're talking about that's... But even in Europe, Yash, where you're training right now, being in who are the other countries, by the way? Let's talk about Pakistan. You've mentioned Egypt. Who are some of the other countries in the world that are excelling in squash?
So we have England, Australia. Then a lot of there's some people coming from countries like Peru, New Zealand. So you have one or two players from these countries, but all of these players eventually had to move to parts of Europe or parts of England to continue their further training. And also, speaking of players from India, I mean, a person I really looked up to was Saurav Ghoshal, who was a former national champion for like 10 years. Made it to top 10 in the world.
What was his name?
Saurav Ghoshal.
Saurav Ghoshal.
Yeah, he lived in Pontefract in England for many years, and one of the best squash players India's ever seen. But he also lived in England for 15 years of his professional career, because in India he didn't have the
infrastructure, the facilities.
And a lot of these places like Egypt, they make sure that all the players are staying in Egypt, so everyone can train together, compete together, and grow together, which is.
And that's how it should be, Yash.
Exactly.
That's exactly. You want to excel. You have a focus. You have somebody who genuinely cares about making a difference.
Right.
You need a leader. This guy, whoever the gentleman you mentioned earlier, he should be the sports minister, right?
No, I mean why can't you have a squash training facility in Goa where you say, oh, all the top players from India, we'll give you accommodation, we'll give you everything. I mean, you have everything in Goa, and
you've got the money, you've got the budgets,
Yeah.
and who doesn't want to come and live in Goa? But if you give them the opportunity, give them the facility, that's when you'll attract. Like, you have to give me an incentive to stay here. If you're not gonna,
you don't need. You already mentioned it. You love this place. We love being here.
Yeah.
It is probably one of the nicest places in the world to have to be. And if you can get there, they're doing shackathon, they're doing hackathon, they're doing all this other stuff that makes a lot. Puzzles a lot of people, but you're absolutely right. Why don't you get somebody from the sports background, sports industry, to be the sports minister, create an environment and have these ideas, get the actual athletes that are involved in these specific sports on a committee that decides for the next generation of sportsmen. Listen, these are the hardships we had growing up. This is what we needed. This is what we're going to provide for you. Mate, it's out there. That's why countries like the U.S., excel in spades. They've got facilities. Before the World Cup, they've had this soccer facility, a massive soccer facility that all the national teams, women's, men's team, and all the local teams that want to excel, they can come to one place and train, and they're killing it. They're actually showing you in the World Cup how the U.S. is doing so well. Why can't we do it here in India? When do people wake up and say, you know what, this is the change we need to see? Get the right people in place to manage these, just like any corporation.
Yeah.
Like a CEO, run this the way. Get an ex-athlete, an ex-squash player, an ex-cricketer or football player to be part of these government authorities. No?
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to mention, because Egypt's not a huge place, and in the top 10 for the men and the women, there are 4 men and 4 women.
It's 8 out of top 10.
For 4 men in the top 10 and 4 women in the top 10 in the world are Egyptian.
Sweetie, you could fit Egypt. You could fit the country of Egypt in India.
Correct.
You could fit their country here in India, and it's a crime and a shame.
And the thing is, at the end of the day, Egypt is a very hot climate as well. So it's ideal. You've got indoor facilities and stuff like that. But obviously there's been a major focus in order for their sportsmen and sportswomen to actually make those achievements. So, at the end of the day, Yash has graduated, and Yash, you also gave up a corporate job as well to focus.
I'm going to get to that. Don't give it away.
Hey.
Whoa, hey,
I
ho.
know what he graduated in, though. I don't know what you graduated in.
Ladies and gentlemen, you tune into the Merv Britto Show. We do the show live every week on a Sunday. We do the show because we're passionate about it. This is our way of giving back. We talk about topics trending here in India, in Goa, in India, and around the world. Things that we could potentially help people understand or educate people about. Not always bad. There's a lot of good things that are happening, but we want to make sure that we do our share. There's nothing else. There's no other way we can do to contribute. This week, we're talking to the one and only Mr. Yash Fadte, who is an enigma. He's such a down-to-earth, well-spoken, hardworking. He's an example of what you want your kid to be, right? You've got young people that listen to the show. It is a great opportunity to highlight the things that are right, that are correct, that are good things about Goa and what Goa can produce. Yes, you love Goa. You mentioned about how you love coming home and chilling out here in Goa. The reason that you caught our eye, and Joanne just touched upon it, is that you gave up a corporate job. So what did you study? Joanne wants to know what you studied in Rochester in your scholarship, but you've given up a corporate culture to be able to pursue your dream. Talk a little bit about your education and what you majored in and what you had to give up, the sacrifices you're making right now.
Yeah, so I basically majored in, so I did a BS, Bachelor of Science in Business Entrepreneurship and in Business Finance. And that's how I got my way into the wealth management world, which is where I first got an internship in Rochester, and then I had a job, which I did for a brief 21 days. And then I said it's time to call it quits and give my shot at squash. And there's something I tell a lot of people. I could have been super comfortable earning a good amount of money, making having a relaxed life in the US. But I mean, a job can be there 10 years later as well. But the opportunity to do something and make history is not going to be there forever, which is why I'm playing professional squash and why I'm here trying to just not just prove to certain people, but to prove to the next generation, inspire kids that if I can do it with the struggles I've been through, then so can you, and achieve even more and even better. So
It's refreshing to hear you say that, and that's exactly the headline that caught our attention, was the fact that he actually he basically gave it up. He sacrificed a cushy life, making good money in a corporate job. And I love the fact that you've studied this. Wealth management, that is something that athletes and professionals need to understand, because when they start making money, they spend it doubly quickly. Yeah. And I love the fact that you're not just about squash, but you've had an education, you've graduated, you've done well. Yash, these next few questions are going to be contentious, or questions that are not easy to answer. But I want to know if you could ask the government, or you could ask, or your dad could ask for help, where would you start? Who would you be petitioning, or who have you asked to be able to make this change? Hey, listen, I want to excel. I need the help. Who would you go to? Where would you potentially start?
Well, I mean, when to put it in simple words, when the problem I've kind of seen is that when you achieve something, everyone's there to congratulate you, but when you're in need of assistance or help to go to the next level, you're kind of not really given that much importance.
Nobody's answering the phone.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, we've kind of been done the full process, been to whoever needs to, whoever approves and everything. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, we'd rather focus and give that time into training harder and playing tournaments than spending it
petitioning the government officials.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of things the government is doing like so well, like I said, with healthcare, with infrastructure, but sports is something that that connects people, connects cultures, connects religions, and it's something that I feel when you go to places like America, when you go to places like England, you go to Europe, you see the importance of it. And that's why those countries, when they compete in the Olympics, win 20 gold medals, win 30, 40 gold medals in total, and India is still stuck at a single digit. And the moment we start giving more importance and really start backing our athletes is when we will also kind of grow even more as a nation.
That's the only way it's going to happen. But we need to see that change. And somebody needs to pay attention. If Narendra Modi ji or any government official or anybody out there that has contacts, and that's exactly why we're doing the show, this is our little way to give back. God has blessed us with so much that we need to be gracious and thankful for. And you get an opportunity once in a while to pay it forward. Yeah. Take that chance. Help out. Yash is killing it on his own without the sponsorship and the financial help that is afforded to a lot of other people around the world. Can you imagine where he'd be if he did have that support, the financial support, coaches, sponsorship deals, whatever the case may be? I'm still after you. I want to be your agent. I would kick some doors down and listen, they need to pay attention, guys. This is a big deal. He's got a limited amount of time. Yeah. Help him make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, I know I've mentioned this a couple of times before. These things are a long-term strategy, and in the UK, it was identified a long time ago, in the 90s, that essentially, the UK really underperformed at a lot of sporting events. And essentially, they set up the National Lottery. The National Lottery is there to donate money to charities as well as sporting institutions. And so much funding has been given over the years whereby, you're entering into a lottery to win money. So by doing that, you're personally, you've got an opportunity to win £10 if you get 3 numbers or whatever, or you can win really, really big. But
Are you trying to say that money goes towards these causes?
Ultimately, a lot of these sporting institutions have actually had investment from the National Lottery, and that's why the UK did so well in the 2012 Olympics. All of this kind of Kaizen, this like continuous improvement around the cycling teams and stuff like that. I mean, these things it's a dedicated full-time role in order to have long-term goals to achieve these sporting greatness.
You need officials, government officials, or you need people in power with the brains, with the exposure, with the knowledge to be able to help make this happen, right?
Correct.
And we keep going through the same stuff year after year.
Yeah.
And nothing changes, and that's what's so frustrating. Ajoy.
Yeah, I think of the youth of Goa, and the fact that, really speaking, they don't have any idols, any people to look up to. Why can't that be Yash?
Yeah.
Think about
Yash
it.
Fadte.
Really speaking, I, in my 40s, would be so happy to know that Yash is representing us in the Olympics. Oh my God, it gives me chills just thinking about it.
I know.
I need to speak to some government officials that genuinely do, and not in a bad way, but we need to petition them. I need to speak to Joanne, we need to interview some young politicians.
Absolutely.
On upcoming shows and ask them the same questions. Guys, you have a chance as young people to change that. What Ajo just mentioned is you'd love to have an example, somebody, a role model from your hometown.
Yes.
I'm so proud of this place. We all love Goa Yash. We live here. We choose to live here. It can be a madhouse and it can drive you crazy, but we love this place.
Yeah.
You'd love the youth to have Yash Fadte or any athlete that's excelling around the world to be a role model, right? This is what you can do if you work hard and study hard and blah, 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 right? But it should be government officials that see this, identify this, and figure out, listen, this is what we need to do to change this. Get these old fuddy-duddies. A lot of the old fuddy-duddies have been there, done that back in the day before they even had mobile phones and televisions. You've got a next generation that can make these changes and make it happen. It's got to be something permanent going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, obviously, you've probably noticed I've got an England top on for the World Cup and everything. Or maybe you didn't notice that. But anyway, at the end of the day, what you want to actually have is people being proud of their country on a national stage, on the national level. The Capo Verde goalkeeper, he's a 40-year-old guy. And he did extremely well playing against Brazil the other day. Now, he was crying his eyes out because his mum wasn't there to see it. Now, the State Department have stepped in, or
JD.
Well, no, it wasn't him. It was
JD, dude.
No, it wasn't. It was Hakeem Jeffries, actually, from the Democrats. But he stepped in, and this guy's mum wasn't able to make it to the Olympics because the visas were so expensive. Anyway, they've stepped in. Now she was there. She was there for him playing yesterday. Now, isn't that just phenomenal? Just having like small nations on the global stage, because these are the heartwarming stories that capture people's imagination and their attention, and then they make people dream bigger.
How many people know where Capo Verde,
Yeah.
right? Curacao, all these places, you don't even know where they are.
And guess what? They're not as big a economy like India, right?
No.
But Ajoy, that's why we're doing this show. That's why you decided a long time ago, Merv, we need to do a show like this, and we need to talk about these things, but there's no other way unless you get an ad in a newspaper or pay money to get on the radio and advertise these things. These are the wrong, like you've got this guy sitting in our studio right here, our humble studio, but this guy is a world-class athlete, Ajoy. And the whole idea with doing the show today is if there's anybody out there listening, we could get to the crowdfunding thing, but I'd love some corporations corporation, some company, somebody in India, like a big thing to say, listen, Yash, we want you to hold our product, sit in our chair and advertise our furniture business, hold this glass of Amul milk and say, this is what makes me so special, makes me kick butt in squash and makes me a killer squash player, right? But that's the kind of encouragement. The height of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Sorry, Yash, I'm getting carried away. I gotta say, you've been blessed, and God has blessed everybody out there, and there's a reason that we have faith, but you've been blessed with your parents. On Father's Day, we're talking about your dad. You've been blessed to have the opportunities. What is something that you would like to change, or how, you mentioned about other athletes being fully paid for and then their coaching staff and all. What is something that would help you tremendously in a very quick, near-term basis?
I mean, at the end of the day, as an athlete, especially as a squash athlete, you're I think I mentioned this earlier, you're barely breaking even. I mean, you have to travel all over the world. Every other week you're on the go, like traveling countless hours, countless miles just to play one tournament. If the tournament doesn't go well, you're basically coming back, losing a lot of money. And in these situations, there's a lot of players who are, supported by, big corporates from their respective countries or from the state governments in different states or different countries. But, I would love to see that happen. I'm not saying for me but people like me who, deserve the recognition or deserve the support, because like you said, I mean, I do not have countless number of years to prove myself and do the best I can. I only have a certain amount of years, and if the support doesn't come now, then
it's going to be too late.
Exactly,
it's going to be too late.
And which is what also happened with which has happened with many athletes over the years. I mean, they've waited for support, but it just never came.
So. And then the time runs out. But
Exactly.
that's exactly why you'd want these officials to make the changes now. And these are the people that need to step up and get involved to change the system, because they've been there, they've done that, they know exactly what needs to change. Yes, sir.
Merv, Yash mentioned one Mr. Ghoshal who represented India very well in earlier, right? Each of these moments in time can make a change for the future of that sport in our country. Yeah. We are at that moment in time now with Yash, because that opportunity that we had with Mr. Ghoshal has gone. Now Yash can show, make the way for other athletes to follow in squash. It can happen. We know that there's the money, and we know we can support our athletes. Why not Yash, right?
Absolutely, Ajo. That's what the whole show is based upon today. There's only so much you can do and so far you can go, and you've got a limited amount of time. So he's blessed to be where he is at this stage. But can you imagine how much more this poor guy would be able to accomplish and think about, sleep well at night, not worrying about the financial part of it. Focus on your sport.
Yep.
Of course,
Yep.
Kicking butt, dude. And we'd be so happy to be able to promote him. He should get a hero's welcome every time. Do you have a lot of people come and meet you and recognize you?
No, not really.
Autographs?
They
Any
should.
chicks?
I mean, in Goa, no, but I mean, it used to happen at my school.
At your college, dude,
Yeah,
girls would be
absolutely.
fawning over you. I guarantee you, mate, that'd be motivation enough to me to take up squash, man. You pick up chicks for sure, and a good-looking cat at that. Yash, this is another question that I've already kind of touched upon is agents. Why do we not have any agents in Goa and India, any agencies that have said to you, we can represent you, we can get you this representation? Why aren't you taking that? Your dad's been a mentor. Your dad's been great. Obviously, you've got a Spanish coach. You mentioned his name is Mr. Mansour. I don't know his full name. Why aren't you more focused on having agents and agencies be able to generate these contacts and start with these companies to be able to generate more revenue? I'm sure people are asking that so that they can sponsor you. Companies can sponsor you. Can you petition companies?
Well, to speak about the agents, I mean, right now I feel that in India there aren't at least I haven't come across agents who really understand the value or the marketing value of squash. Or top squash athletes in general, and I feel that everyone's really, really focused on cricket or just that
Soccer.
in general. Exactly. I mean, more on cricket.
More
so
on
I
cricket.
don't. And I think in other countries like especially in America, even though squash is still a growing sport, they really are helping the American squash players get corporate funding, get a lot of funding from the U.S. squash
Association,
Yeah,
the team.
exactly. So, and that is happening because they in America people understand the value of a brand, they understand the value of an athlete, and they know how to market the athlete and promote it, which right now I think is not really happening with squash in India.
But more importantly, you've got 1.5 billion people. If you can take 20% or 10% of that, and the revenue. Back in the day, times have changed. Back in the day, the salaries that were paid a lot less, and the fact of the matter remains, a lot of these sports were a lot more elitist, and they weren't publicized or whatever the case. But if you actually have an agent that can use that leverage, listen, you've got this many people that would watch, and Yash's name could be promoted to this many people, blah, 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 or a government official that can see the potential of making this huge in India squash on a national level. Yash Fadte representing India at the Olympics, bronze, silver, properly gold medal winner Yash Fadte representing India on that podium at the Olympics, dude. You've got a limited amount of time. They should be targeting these people. Anybody knows that if you want to do something, it's got to have money involved. Right? So if you could make money and with the internet, with social media, with these platforms and these technologies that you could use to turn these things around and make this something that could make a huge change. Yeah. And they could actually be able to generate that revenue to justify why somebody like a Yash, even though squash is not that great or not that big and popular here, could be something that could generate a lot of revenue for a company. They would be jumping, they would be chomping at the bit to get their name on his back, on his shirt, on his hat.
Absolutely, but it's also being able to associate with the health benefits of exercise as well, because that's huge in a lot of other places around the world these days. That there are brands that want to associate themselves with people who are keeping themselves fit, and in the long term, you're hopefully not going to have so many people having to face major illnesses because they've been fit for the majority of their life. But, and a lot of more of the developed nations are actually focusing on prevention of illnesses rather than having to cure them later on down the line. That's major.
But that, Joanne, you would think that a country like India, with the knowledge, with the finances, with the talent, would be promoting it. You could tie this all in together. Now, because of a fad, pickleball and paddleball has become huge. Everybody sees it on the internet. Everybody sees it on social media. Let's get it a pick, and it's great. Don't bag it. Don't take nothing away from it. A lot of friends of mine play it and they love it. Yeah. But that's a different demographic, an older generation, whatever. That's exercise, great. Yeah. I'm saying this dude is sitting on my couch right now is a world-class athlete. And if anybody out there listening, or if anybody can share this information with somebody like a major senior government official, a sports administrator, a coach, a company that would like to sponsor him, this is the time to do it. And if you invest that time and effort and energy in promoting Yash now, and he makes it big, you could promote your brand and all over the world. This country could promote India as a squash mecca. He talked about having a squash facility in Goa, in Bombay, in Delhi, anywhere around the country, right? People love to come to Goa anyway. Why not come to and pay for a squash training with Yash Fadte in Goa? Dude, you could generate millions of dollars. But somebody has to see that value, right? I always said that a lot of these industries that fail, like your ISL, like the ho-ho buses, like all these things, it's because these entities are not being run by professional people, jockeys I call them, with the right vision, exposure, to take these from just like running any other industry, like a CEO and all your other executives. These have to be run by people that know what the F they're doing. And you can make anything a success if you're willing to work hard. You've got the talent like this young gentleman sitting here, and it's a darn shame, dude. Yeah. It is. So if you know somebody, the point is that if you know somebody that can help, I would love. Yash, how do people, Ajoy, do we have any of Yash's Instagram or social media handles?
We don't have it at the moment.
Let's give out Yash's personal number. His number to call is 9. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Yash, how does somebody, and all jokes aside, I'm going to get to the rapid fire. We're getting towards the end of the show. We're going to go into some rapid fire questions. How do people get in touch with you? Ajay, I want to promote this. So if somebody out there, anybody around India or around the world can help him out. By the way, Yash, I reached out to my sister Paula in Pennsylvania. I'm going to read this to you quickly before I get into question. When I contacted PM, she said to me that we have contacts in Pennsylvania, and she said to me somebody like Alex State. I don't know who Alex State is. So I asked her. I said, "Listen, this person's going to be on the show this week." And 2 words. She said, "I'm in." They have connections, and we do have some amazing squash connections, both at PCC, which is the Philadelphia Country Club in Marion. If I'm correct, I believe Guy Training at PCC is a globally acknowledged coach. Let me dig into him a bit, and I believe he's Scottish. The biggest takeaway from is the recurring theme, perseverance against all odds, right? So there's people out there that can help you. She mentioned Alex State is now coaching at the elite all-boys school next door at Haverford School. Used to be Agnes Irving's brother's school. I can find a way to make introduction of Yash would like. I'm sure you'd like that, wouldn't you?
No, absolutely.
You've got very well-connected Indians, Goans around the world that are in front of listening to the show right now. How would people get in touch with you if they wanted to help?
I mean, speaking of which, I just want to add something that I forgot to add earlier. Every time I've been, I've traveled to places like the US and England in particular to play squash tournaments. Yeah. I always would put out a Facebook post from my Facebook account like, "Hey, I'm playing this match, etc., etc. Hope to see some support there." And there have been so many times, especially in England, where a bunch of doctors, Go Norwegian doctors, would show up as a 4 or 5 group, and they would be there supporting me, and then we would go for meal after, and just made friends and connections that way. So I feel like Facebook, Instagram is the way.
What are your Facebook handles? What is your Instagram
so it's
handle?
just Yash Fadte and Yash Squash. That's
Yash is Fadte spelled Fadte. What is your Instagram handle? Ajay, do we have these coming up on the screen? Will they be posted somewhere?
We will post them.
Neil, can we post these somewhere? Put these on the show. People can, if anybody can help in any which way, whatever you can do, get in touch with them. We don't want to know about it. We don't want any part of it. We just want to be able to help, do our share. But we'd love to put Party A together with Party B and help this young man just represent Goa, represent us around the world.
We want him to be a roving reporter for us around the world whenever he's going off to.
That's what I want from him. I want to send us a picture of all the tournaments he's killing and doing really well at. Yash, are you? So you're going back to Europe right now. You've got to maintain a certain level, a ranking, correct?
Correct.
What is the next biggest milestone before the Olympics? Olympics are 2028. What's coming up next?
So I have the nationals in India coming up in November, which is a huge event, and because
in India,
in the Indian nationals, where you have which is in Mumbai, in November, and winning that tournament helps you qualify for a lot of tournaments to represent India in a lot of international events. So that's my next short-term goal.
Yeah.
But again, there's many short-term goals. I have tournaments coming up in Spain. I have tournaments coming up in the US. I have tournaments coming up in England. So a lot of tournaments, different sizes of different prize monies.
Yeah.
And obviously the goal is to win as many as possible.
Maintain the ranking.
Absolutely, because the end goal, like I said, is the Olympics, which is the biggest goal. So,
so these are rapid fire questions, quick answers. Some of your biggest milestones, things you're most proud of. What would you say is something that in a good way, that you're most proud of?
Getting into a U.S. college on a full scholarship.
Awesome. Rochester, University of Rochester.
Absolutely.
Name some of the tournaments, some of the biggest tournaments that you've won in the last, 2-3 years. Dude, you're world class. Name some of these tournaments. I want to hear these.
Yeah, so I just recently won the Barcelona Open, which is, I think, a month ago.
Yeah.
Then I've won the US Junior Open. I've won the French Junior Open. In college, in the last few years, I've been named the Player of the Year in 2025 and in 2022. And I was Rookie of the Year my freshman year in 2021. Then I've won three junior national titles. So yeah, those are just some of my key achievements.
It's key. This is not small stuff. This is world class, right? And he's just a local going boy, soft spoken, mild mannered, well brought up, somebody that you'd really want to help. And I've said this so many times.
Stated as well.
Understated, but that's what makes him so appealing. His dad, dude, I'm such a big fan of his dad. Dilip Fadte, Valor Tuka. Ani kita monore, really? Konkani no lai mare. Ajoy sang mare. Ajoy's Konkani is horrible, by the way.
Okay.
Speaking Konkani, speak to Dilip Fadte. What would you say to his dad to thank him for this product?
I take my hats off to Mr. Dilip Fadte because it's not easy, like Yash said, and he believes in his son, and he backs him 100%, which is amazing. On a Father's Day, what could you have more, right?
That's the whole idea, dude. Dilip, we only talk about Dilip Fadte, and what's your mom's name?
Geeta.
Geeta Fadte, one brother.
Yep.
Any
my
sister?
Twin brother.
There's only two of you, right?
Yeah. Enough trouble for our parents.
What's his name? I've forgotten his name. Om. Geeta, Dilip, you should be. I'm sure they're so proud of you. You were lucky because you've had the opportunity to do what you've done, but it's come at a lot after a lot of hard work, and you've studied hard, and you've won all the accolades and the awards. My hope, my dream, my wish for you is that somebody out there hears or watches or shares this interview with you, or interview with you to somebody else that can actually make a difference. I love an agent, a big agency, Joanne, in anywhere in the world. Forget Mumbai. Yeah. An agency to sit up and take notes and say, this kid got so much potential, and being crass, he could make us so much money. He could be a gold mine, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'd love that agency to see the talent, unpolished diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
He's already proven himself. He has nothing to prove. Absolutely. He was kind enough to come and sit on the show. But an agency to see this and say, you know what, we could market this guy, and we could get funding, and we could have sponsorship deals.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to worry about the financial part of it. He focuses on kicking butt and reaching world number one.
Well, there's a phenomenal roadmap 2 years out from the Olympics, isn't there? So that would just be absolutely amazing in order to be able to follow all of the key tournaments, all the key milestones, and also raise the profile of squash additionally over and above the fact that it's a hugely popular sport globally, but over and above that, the fact that it is actually making its debut at the Olympics, because
2028.
This story is only going to get bigger and bigger.
And I'll tell you what. We know that the Merv Britto Show will follow Yash's step every which way, till he reaches that goal, and I have no doubt he's going to attain it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yes, no, we're not blowing smoke up your ass. I'm telling you, you've done what you've done, and you've been damn good at it. And you need to listen. I have a lot of friends of mine that think the squash players, and now I can tell them that I know Yash Fadte. There's a guy named Jazz Manish Adnani. He plays squash against the wall, and the wall always wins. He thinks he's big shit. Yeah, Jazz? I'm sitting and talking to Yash Fadte, baby. Don't mess with me. I'm so embarrassed because I do play squash, but can you imagine having Yash come? No, I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm not even going to think about it.
That's what I wanted some film. I wanted some footage of Merv playing squash with Yash.
Listen. Merv's doubles player is Yash, so you can
100%
anywhere.
100%, dude. Bring whoever the hell you want. I'm bringing YF. No, it is. We laugh, we joke, we have a good time. Yash, we do the show every week, Sunday, 6 p.m. But anybody around the world who's got a connection, you don't have to be Indian, you don't have to be Goan, but anybody around the world that has a connection to Goa, been to Goa, you could be from anywhere, any culture, any religion, race. If you're listening to the show, we have a laugh. We try to educate and entertain people about what's going on topical. It's not always about the bad. This is a great opportunity to highlight somebody that we're already so proud of. May God continue to bless you with all the success. You've done what you've done with hard work, and this show is basically, yes, on Father's Day, but it's been an example for the young people that are watching that you could do whatever you want. More than anything else, it takes hard work and dedication, and which you've done in spades. I wish you all the very best, and my hope and dream, just like I'm saying, God has blessed us all, and there's people out there that might get a chance to share this or hear this. But if you can help Yash out, check him out on Instagram, Yash, Y-A-S-H, Fadte, F-A-D-T-E. Now with the age of the internet and social media, mate, you'll find him. Top class Indian squash, whatever. Look it up. If you could help him out, that would make such a huge difference in somebody's life. But we need to make this change in our system here, Yash, in India with the sports authority. One department, one government branch, because what you're saying could change the world forever, for us forever. You can have people athletes actually want to stay here in Goa and excel, and they could do it, no?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Positive role models.
Absolutely.
We need that too.
I mean, I traveled to, Barcelona and different parts of the world to get the best squash coaching. Why shouldn't athletes from parts of Europe or parts of other world come to a place like Goa to, become the best squash players or become the best footballers?
Exactly. Yeah.
It can be done. It needs a little bit of an imagination. You need somebody with the exposure, somebody with the imagination. You've got all the help you need. You've got the money. And it always comes back to money, sadly, and the money's there. Yeah, Ajay, we talked about this 2 shows, last show, whatever. 250 crores is not a small amount.
Exactly.
And you want administrators, you want the enforcement department to figure out where this money's going, where it's being spent, who's spending it, what was spent on. You need to question these things, because what Yash is saying makes so much sense. If you've got a place like Goa that's already a gold mine, forget about the casinos. Your tourist industry is sad, is lacking. Stuff like this where you could actually encourage people to come here to a beautiful place as it is. Yoga, squash, these kind of people. And I'd love to have people like Yash and people that have come before Yash to pave the way for Yash to be involved in these kind of...
Merv, we talk about, the tourism department going abroad and selling Goa.
Yeah.
There can be no better person to sell Goa on.
I love you.
Yash.
That is such a brilliant idea. Can you imagine, who's your tourism minister here? Isn't it Rohan Kaunte?
Yes.
Yo, Rohan Kaunte, if anybody gets this message to you, can you imagine having Yash Fadte, a world-class squash athlete, alongside you, representing Goa and India and the tourism industry? Come to Goa, play some squash. We've got XYZ facility. Ajay, why are you so smart, dude?
I told you, I need to be the chief minister of Goa someday.
With your brains and my looks, mate, we'd make it to Mapsa. You're good looking. I'm kidding. But I'm saying that's such a brilliant idea. Yash, who are some of the big names that you've met that could potentially make a change here? And I'd love to have these people pay attention, dude.
I mean, something I was just about to mention is when I travel abroad and meet so many people from Indians abroad or even Americans or British, when they ask me where I'm from, and if they ask one of my friends from India if they're from Mumbai or somewhere, when I say Goa, their heads just turn. They're like, Goa, no way. So that's the power and that's the impact that just the word Goa has.
Yeah.
And why can't we make the best use of that?
Exactly.
You know what? You're so right, because also you're in a place in Barcelona, in Spain, and essentially the original tourist destination for the Brits was actually Spain. It was huge, it was massive. So my first ever holiday in the 1970s was to Spain. My second holiday was to Mallorca, which is part of Spain. Now, the Brits have been going to Spain for years on end, and honestly, it was like the original tourist destination, one of the major countries on earth that, originated tourism. So you're there. You can help fly the flag for Goa from there as well.
Flag for India, dude.
India as well.
Make Goa proud, because everybody knows Goa. Like you said, everybody's shocked. Okay, I'm going to ask you 3 question, 1-word answers. Who's going to win the World Cup?
England.
Yay.
Boo. Girlfriend?
No.
No, not yet. You too. Good. You're smart, dude. Stay. Keep it that way. Yes.
We'll talk about that after.
That's another thing.
Officially, it's no.
No, absolutely. What I'm saying to you is this is important stuff, and he's actually so focused. This is a tough journey that he's making. Gold, silver, or bronze?
Gold.
Good, man. And that's exactly what I want to hear.
That was quick, Merv. That was a quick answer back.
But
so you know.
He's there, dude. He's already there. Without the support and funding, he's already there. And we could do so much to help this cat, make us proud. Once again, I want to thank you so much, Yash. You are a breath of fresh air, and like I'm saying, for the rest of my life, I'll be so proud that I met you, I got to talk to you, but I'm a big fan. I love the sport of squash, but thank you so much for being so down to earth, so willing to come onto a small little show like ours, a podcast. I wish you continued success. I hope God continues to bless you, your family, your friends. You mentioned that there's some people that have supported you throughout these tough times. Mm-hmm. You want to give out a couple of shout outs. I'd love to give back and have these people hear their names. Dilip and Nita and Geeta.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean the people who deserve all the shout out is, you know, my parents like Dilip, Geeta, and my twin brother Om. I mean, these are the people who have been there, you know, since day one, and I know they will be there until the end. So these are people who deserve all the shout out, all the praise, and, you know, the full credit for my full success so far.
Extended family, coaches, training staff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my full extended family, my coaches in Barcelona. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, that is my team, my family, my coaches, my full team. And, you know, at the end of the day, when I win, my team wins. When I lose, we lose as a full team. So yeah, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been super fun, and I would, you know, love to be back on the show. In the future.
Done. I'm not going to let you change your mind. You're done. You're absolutely. We're going to have you back on the show again. Yash, yes, Joanne.
I was just going to say it's just been great to get to know you, to hear about your journey, to know more about you as a person, what motivates you, and obviously that having that amazing support of your family and friends that's, you know, continuing to inspire you to get you to your goal. And I love that, and I'd love for the fact, like, for us to just continue to support you and follow your journey and promote you as much as we possibly can to, you know, in some small way help you to get to where you want to be and where you deserve to be.
The Merv Britto Show is a show we do every week. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into the show, and we love to be able to do our little bit. This is such a pleasure, because if by any chance people can help, this is our little way of trying to give back. We do the show live every week, Sunday, 6 p.m. Our social media handles will magically appear on the screen right now. This show is all about Yash Fadte, but we can help in any which way. This is our social media handles. If you know somebody, get in touch with us. If you like what we're doing, get in touch with us. If you want to support us, like, share, subscribe, click the bell. You'll get notifications every time the new show is put out. You can send us messages on WhatsApp, 750-7246-246. Go and check out our website, www.themervbrittoshow.com. But more importantly, this good-looking young man, and if he's got the looks in the family, I can't imagine what the future brings for him with the talent, his looks. I continue to wish you all the very success. Ladies and gentlemen, please help if you can and support this guy whenever you see him out anywhere in the world. It's our local boy, our local hero, our local world champion, Yash Fadte. God bless you. Keep up, keeping on, keep all the, like, I can't stop wanting to help in any which way we can. You will be there. We will be rooting for you. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Merv Britto, and on behalf of Yash Fadte, Dilip Fadte, we want to say thank you. Until the next time, take care. God bless. Merv Britto out.